everyone, the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notifications down below if you haven't already. Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom. I am Kevin, behind me as usual, beautiful wagon wheel, hopefully a little wisdom up here. So today I wanted to talk about something called fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real, if you wanted to throw a little acronym and attach it to that, and sort of what we create up in our mind, or at least what I've created up in my mind, since I've started going down this spiritual awakening path. And or somebody coined a nice little phrase this morning that I was talking to, just calling it the journey to freedom. The journey to freeing yourself, I guess, is a better way to kind of look at it. And so the one thing I've really had to just contend with is that there was a large part of me that I've found to be, I suppose, scared or very fearful. And I think a couple of those fears is the fear of abandonment. I mean, that's been a core childhood wound for sure. The fear, which then spilled over into the fear of being alone, or the fear of, I suppose, getting back out again and meeting somebody again, or the fear of losing somebody that I thought was going to be in my life. So in other words, a lot of different fears have been brought to the forefront, and something I really need to dig down deep and analyze. And more importantly, letting go of those fears, and just understanding that these are self-imposed fears that I'm creating. I'm creating a mental landscape that is becoming my own prison in my own head and keeping me there. And the more that, I'm gonna use the 6 months, because just up until recently, I've felt, especially today, today has been rather new. I feel a very calming, content energy that's just kind of come over me, and really leaning into just being okay with the way things are right now, and also sensing optimism about the future. And I can only attribute it to the recent work I've done, especially with the new mantras that I've been using. I am not going to react, and God is preparing the perfect partner for me. And just using these again and again anytime some old thoughts had come up. And I've just noticed that the fears of being alone, the fears of rejection, the fears of abandonment have really faded into the backdrop, which has been a nice change of pace. But with that in mind, let's examine that a little deeper. If we're living in a state of fear, you're not living in a state of rational thought. It's typically anxiety driven. Kind of, you're just kind of looking around, scared in the moment, instead of living in the moment, or I should say, actually, more or less living in the past, and you are fearing a future instead of living presently. But that's just kind of part of this process, and as you learn that, and letting go of these fears, as I stated, is going to be so key on this journey. And you have to, it's rewiring a lot of things upstairs that really needed to be rewired. And I think one area that I really got caught up in was, when you embark on this, it seems like the hyper focus is on the individual that broke up with you, correct? That this is where our hyper focus is, and we forget that the whole point of this journey to freedom, the spiritual awakening, isn't just about that person. They kicked you out of the nest in whatever way it may have been, but the fears and all of these emotions that are now being brought to the forefront really don't have a lot to do with that person. They have more to do with past conditioning, childhood, trauma that's happened while you were growing up, even into adulthood. These are the mirrors that the individual that broke up with us are showing us, but yet the hyper focus is on them, because I think in a way we're confusing a lot of the pain that we feel inside with strictly just missing them or involving them. And I want to be the first to say that just with the way I'm feeling today, I'm finding that to be completely not true anymore as I'm just letting go more and more of that old story about them. And it is an old story. Um, and granted, this is pretty new right now. And but what I'm feeling today is just this unconditional love for the person, but at a distance, loving them from a distance, which I've talked about in past videos, especially with ex-wife, ex-narcissistic girlfriend, is getting into a position where I can love them from a distance. I was not able to do that with my past partner this entire time frame until recently. So I don't know what sort of inner work has really changed inside of me. If it's the new mantras where I'm catching myself with the negative thoughts and pushing them aside. Um, I've been sitting a lot more in meditation lately, just being grateful and content about the experience with her. Not that the cord cutting ritual I did, as visual as it was and as hard as it was, I've found that it felt much more like a death at that point in time in dealing with the death. And I've been able to really just kind of push the things aside, and most importantly, step away from that fear-based mindset into a mindset of gratitude about the situation versus being angry, resentful, sad, all the above emotions that have come along with this. But I just really want to drive that point home is the pain of the breakup. It's a big deal, don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to imply that it isn't, but what that pain is showing you is your past conditioning that really needs to be worked on. And I know that's talked about, but I don't know if it's expressed enough because, again, the hyper focus always seems to fall back on the person instead of on yourself, and bringing to light all of these old things, all of these old patterns, old belief system. Because let's be real about this. Where we truly want to get to, those old those old ways of thinking, those old habits, those old ways of dealing with problems aren't going to bode well into that future. And if we keep going forward with the old mindset, the universe is going to keep showing you again and again that same type of, maybe a person, another person will come into your life, or they'll show you different events that will re-trigger these things until these core wounds are worked on again and again, and just and let go. So it's a tough work in progress, but I tell you, like the more I pay attention and give myself credit to the little victories, the more I see that these little baby steps along the way have really turned into some massive results over the course of time. And like I said, I've been at this for 6 months now, working as hard as I can, having my moments where, I go backwards. What is backwards? Like I said, it's just I might not have learned the lesson the right way the first time, so I have to do it again. It's kind of you're getting your books back. It's like you're getting held back a year, so got to do eighth grade again, get all my same books back. But I didn't have to do eighth grade again, FYI. I'm just using that as an example. But yeah, so I think these two concepts that I'm hitting at right today, letting go of the fear, you're going to be okay. All right. And if you have to sit there and tell yourself that 100 times a day starting out, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Go for it and do it. But also don't just confuse the pain with the person that you're constantly thinking of. Because as I'm drilling down, ah, hey, it's 10:10. As I'm drilling down to this, and as I begin, and again, this is part of the process that's so fucking hard, is separating that person out of my mindset. And as I spoke about yesterday, the amount of real estate that they have taken up in my brain, they're getting evicted. I'm sick of it. They're not paying any rent. Okay, they're living up there for free right now, and that's just not something that I'm going to continue to allow. And the thing is, I have control over that to a degree, but it entails me working on me at the same time to make sure that I can get to a place where, again, I can love her from a distance. as much as I've bitched about her, I was actually talking with my son about it this morning. It's like she's got some amazing qualities about her, amazing things. But like me, we've got scaffolding around ourselves, and we've got work to do. And the work on this spiritual path never ends. Our upbringings are completely different. How we operate, how we view the world. Her life experience has been vastly different than mine. So things that she excels at greatly, I'm not so good at, and vice versa. But that's the beauty of it. As much as I've complained about her and this and that, man, she's held a mirror up that nobody else has ever done before. And I'm as frustrating as this gets, and as angry as I've been at times, and as hard as it's been, and the times I'm crying on the floor, on a day like today when I can sit back and love this woman from a distance, it really is a beautiful thing. And it's beautifully horrific, as I've put it, the shit show that is this journey at times. But at the same time, when I scope back out and look at it from a vantage point, it's like, man, Kevin, you've come a long freaking way, and maybe it's time to celebrate that in some aspects and stop pushing so darn hard. But just how I'm wired, and that's part of the rewiring process too, is just kind of re-believing in yourself again. Um, when you're beat down, when you're lonely, when you're yearning for somebody that isn't there, and you can't stop thinking about him, you lose sight of yourself, and you lose sight of who you are. And it's it's scary, um, because it feels like there's no end in sight. But I think with our, and I'm guilty of this, our instant gratification mindset, where we kind of maybe hope it comes easy. This is going to highlight that nothing about this is easy, and nothing about it is going to come easy, because of the amount of rewiring that needs to take place to let go of the old version of who I used to be, and just accepting that the person that I have to become, the old ways, the old mindsets, it's not something I can carry into the future anymore. And in order to cultivate, I guess, let me put it to you this way, in order to bring in something new or someone new that I want to, I suppose, vibrate at a higher level with, then I myself have to be at this higher level. I can't expect somebody else anymore to come in and not expect, and that's probably maybe I was doing that. I guess maybe the Freudian slip was accurate there. Maybe my expectation was this person is supposed to lift me up, and while she may have been attempting to do that, I have to lift myself up. I have to fill my own cup first. I have to bring my A game to the arena, um, and show up every day. But that starts with showing up for me first. So it's been all right. Today's a pretty good day. After a tough couple of weeks, and I have to sit there and tell you guys and confess to you, like, it's a daily process. And when I mean daily, checking your mind and making sure that you're not with the constant thoughts, and surrendering to the moment, and surrendering to your godlike abilities that you have inside of you. It takes practice, and it's about catching yourself every single time. And like I said, when I have those thoughts come in, it's immediate now. I will not react. I will not react. But that's going to spill over into so many other areas of our lives, or of my life too. Um, Interactions with anybody. And I do look forward to it. I know I've been on here days, struggling to want to go on, but you know, you get kind of that taste of the journey to freedom, so to speak. And once you step out of that spider web, and you kind of get to see it again, like the world lights up a little bit differently for you. It's my perception changes, my drive changes, my inner desires change, the way I look at things is changing. So it's a slow process, it's a tough process, and I hope that all of you find times to enjoy it too, throughout the craziness of it all, because it can really drag you down and drag you backwards if you allow it to. But at the same time, it can really take you into some new areas of your life. But be kind and kind of step away and just be like, all right, I'm going to enjoy this day. I'm going to take this moment and I am going to enjoy this day and this moment for what it is. So, hope all you guys are well. Later.